Hello everyone. I'm Helen from Susan's family. Today, I'll bring you Fu series sperm whale underarm bag for this electronic tutorial. You can search for susud.com on the website to view it. The bag consists of a front piece, back piece, base piece, opening piece, and some accessories. Here, the front and back pieces are identical. Start by crocheting the front piece, back piece, and base piece. Then continue with the back piece and base piece. After completing them, compare the fabric to the cutting grid board and cut out the lining fabric. Sew and secure it to the fabric pieces. Next, assemble the three pieces together. Finally, create the opening piece and finish up with the remaining accessories, then attach them. Let's start by making the front and back pieces. It consists of the main piece, the edging, and slip stitch decorations. Start by crocheting the main piece. After completing it, crochet the edging around the outer ring in rounds. Finally, pick the corresponding positions and crochet the slip stitch decorations. The main piece begins with foundation chain. Then, along the starting row, match up the corresponding positions. Work back and forth in rows. Here, we use a chart to demonstrate. In the table, H plus number indicates the row number. The column for increases and decreases explanation indicates the stitches needed when crocheting the current row, as well as the situations for increasing or decreasing. Since a variety of stitches are used, they are all marked on the chart. I won't go through each one here. Please watch as I demonstrate the specific crochet method. For your convenience in watching, I'll use thicker yarn for this demonstration. Colors are random. For specific yarn, color schemes, and hook sizes, please refer to the detail page of our product and paper instructions. The foundation chain is 11ch. This means the method for casting on is foundation chain. With 11 chains, pick up the yarn with your right hand, and hang the yarn with your left hand. Pinch the yarn tail with your thumb, and middle finger on your left hand. Pick up the crochet hook with your right hand. Place it underneath the yarn. Wrap the yarn counterclockwise. Pinch the crossing point of the loop with your thumb, and middle finger on your left hand. Then wrap the yarn counterclockwise again. Draw the yarn through. Tighten the tail. This knot for casting on does not count as a stitch. Start crocheting 11 stitches. Once completed, the foundation chain is done. Move on to the first row. H1 is Dow2, V, 8x, W, 7x. Dow2 means starting in second CH from the hook. Begin crocheting. Count backwards from the side of the hook. 1, 2. This is the second to last stitch. Insert the hook into the top strand of the chain. Work 1 single crochet increase, that is, work 2 single crochets in the same position. First stitch. Second stitch. Complete the single crochet increase. Continue crocheting the corresponding number of single crochets downward. The number before X indicates how many single crochets to make. This indicates making 8 single crochets. Insert the hook into the top strand of each chain and work the stitches. After completing, the table below indicates 1 single crochet where you place 3 stitches. That is, in the remaining chain from the starting chain. Crochet 3 single crochets. First stitch. Second stitch. Third stitch. The single crochet with 3 stitches in one position completed. Let's take a look. There are 2 strands like this on the other side of the chain remaining. Continue crocheting along these strands. Here, pick up the second strand from the left of the remaining chain and begin to work 7 single crochets evenly. Pay attention not to pick up the chain position of the 3 single crochets. Start crocheting from the adjacent chain. At the same time, place the starting tail of the yarn above the crochet hook. Weave in the ends as you go along. After completion, continue by crocheting 1 single crochet decrease on the left side. First, pick up the position of the adjacent chain. Crochet an incomplete single crochet, insert, yarn over and pull through. There are 2 loops on your hook. This is an incomplete single crochet. Continue with the next chain by crocheting another incomplete single crochet. Insert, yarn over and draw through. Now you have worked 2 incomplete single crochets. There are 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over and draw through in once. Complete the single crochet decrease. When counting the stitches here, just count the stitches above the corresponding stitch pattern on the right. 1 stitch represents 1 hook. At this point, the first row is completed. If there's any leftover yarn from the turning chain, just cut it off. Move on to the second row. Start with 1 chain as your turning chain. The table afterwards says, turn, which means you need to turn your work. Turn the fabric counterclockwise. The adjacent table says, skip, which means you need to skip 1 stitch and leave it unworked. So, skip the first stitch position. Pick up the next stitch position. Work a single crochet decrease. This row is crocheted on the wrong side of the previous row. The stitches are located above on the left. Insert the hook into the corresponding 2 stitches. Crochet an incomplete single crochet. First stitch. Second stitch. Yarn over at the end. Pull through all the loops on your hook. Complete the single crochet decrease. Then continue to work 5 single crochets evenly. After that, make 3 single crochets increase. Then work even for 9 single crochets without increasing or decreasing. The stitches within adjacent brackets need to be worked into the same position. Here, pick up the last stitch. Work 1 single crochet and 1 half double crochet. Then continue with 1 chain stitch. Adjacent to it is the red single crochet symbol. The placement of this single crochet stitch is a bit special. You need to work into the side edge of the half double crochet. Pick up the 2 strands on the side of the half double crochet. Work 1 single crochet. At this point, the second row is completed. Next, start the third row. Begin with 2 chain stitches. Then go back. Pick up the single strand above the braid of the second to last stitch. Work 1 single crochet. Then continue working 13 single crochets evenly. When you encounter a chain space, pick either its braid or the hole underneath for the stitch. After completion, the pattern below is XV times 3. Here, the parentheses indicate a group. Times few indicates the number of times to repeat the pattern. Work 1 single crochet below. Work 1 single crochet increase. That completes 1 round. Continue for 2 more rounds. After completion, work 3 single crochets evenly. Then work 1 single crochet decrease. Leave the last stitch unworked. This completes row 3. Now move on to row 4. Start with 1 chain as your turning chain, then turn over the fabric. Work 1 single crochet decrease below. Work 1 single crochet into each adjacent stitch. 1 half double crochet. 1 double crochet. Next, you need to work a double crochet increase. That means 2 double crochets in one position. Complete the double crochet increase. Then work 2 double crochets evenly. Afterward, it's FT. The brackets here mean the same as before. Work the stitches inside the brackets into one position. Then pick up the adjacent position and work 1 double crochet and 1 half double crochet. After completing, continue with 2 half double crochets evenly. Work 1 half double crochet in an adjacent position and 1 single crochet. Continue to work 14 single crochets into each stitch in sequence. Work 1 single crochet in an adjacent position and 1 half double crochet. At this point, row 4 is completed. Now work on row 5. Start by crocheting 5 chain stitches. Then go back from the second to last stitch and crochet. Pick up 1 strand above the braid. Crochet 1 single crochet. 1 half double crochet. 1 double crochet. For the adjacent stitch, work a double crochet decrease. First, pick up 1 strand above the braid. Work 1 incomplete double crochet, yarn over, insert. Yarn over and pull through. Then yarn over and draw through the first 2 loops. There are 2 loops left. That's an incomplete double crochet. Continue to pick up the adjacent stitch below. Work 1 incomplete double crochet. After completing this, there will be 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through once, complete the double crochet decrease. Continue with 2 double crochets. 9 half double crochets. Eight single crochets. Work 1 single crochet and 1 half double crochet in the next position. After completing, continue with 3 double crochets. Crochet 1 double crochet and 1 half double crochet in the adjacent stitch. For the remaining stitches, work 1 half double crochet, 1 single crochet, 1 double crochet. Leave the remaining 2 stitches unworked. Row 5 is completed. Now move on to row 6. Start with 3 chain stitches as the turning chain. Then turn over the fabric. Skip 1 stitch. The skipped stitch corresponds to the one below. Crochet a double crochet decrease next. Followed by a double crochet increase. Then work 1 half double crochet and 1 half double crochet increase. The half double crochet increase means working 2 half double crochets into the same position. Continue repeating 3 times, 1 half double crochet and 1 half double crochet increase. After completing, continue with 5 half double crochets. Then work 1 half double crochet increase. Followed by 14 half double crochets. Work 1 half double crochet adjacent to 1 double crochet. After completing, work 1 chain stitch. Below is the red symbol for the double crochet. It indicates that the entry position for this double crochet is special. Here you need to pick up the 2 strands on the side of the edge double crochet as the insertion point. Work 1 double crochet. At this point, row 6 is completed. Continue crocheting row 7 below. Start by referring to the chart first. Keep crocheting until the last stitch position on the chart. Upon reaching the last stitch position, below are 3 chain stitches. Here, pick up the 2 strands of the 3rd chain stitch as the insertion point. Crochet the last double crochet stitch. At this moment, row 7 is completed. For row 8 to row 11 that follow, the stitches and crocheting methods used have all been demonstrated before. Everyone can refer to the chart to complete these rows. Pay attention to row 8 and row 10. The turning chain does not count as one stitch. When the chart does not indicate a need to skip stitches, everyone can start crocheting from the initial stitch position. At the same time, when encountering situations where crocheting is needed on the turning chains later, the method is the same as at the end of row 7, at the topmost chain stitch position of the corresponding chain, which is the chain adjacent to the stitch. You can pick up 2 strands and insert the hook. Here, I'll teach you a way to count rows without counting them directly. Because of crocheting back and forth, the texture of the fabric alternates between 1 row of the right side and 1 row of the wrong side. So, you can count the alternating textures on the smoother end of the fabric. Just alternate between the right and wrong sides to count the textures. Next, crochet row 12. Start with 2 chain stitches as the turning chain, then turn over. Next, pick up the stitches and work 5 double crochets correspondingly into each stitch. Afterwards, work 1 double crochet increase. Continue with 5 half double crochets and 1 half double crochet increase. Repeat this process 2 times. After completing, continue with 3 single crochets. Then work 6 slip stitches. The remaining part does not need to be crocheted. This completes row 12. Now move on to row 13. Start with 1 chain stitch as the turning chain, turn over, then skip 1 stitch. You can see there are 2 rows of braids here. 1 row of braids is from the stitches of row 11. The other row of braids is from the slip stitches of the previous row. Skip 1 braid going down without crocheting it. Then start from the braid on the left side. Pick the position where the 2 rows of braids meet. That is, pick the 2 strands in the middle. Insert the hook into the center of the 2 braids. Correspondingly make 10 slip stitches. When encountering a stitch, insert the hook into the picked stitch. To count the slip stitches, count the braids. Mind that the twisted part here is the braid of the turning chain. Do not include it when counting the stitches. After completing, continue crocheting by referring to the chart. Finish with the last stitch. Row 13 is completed. Continue with row 14. Start with 2 chain stitches. Turn over. Crochet the corresponding stitches by referring to the chart all the way down. At the slip stitch position. Similarly, pick the position where the braids meet before and after. Insert the hook into the 2 strands in the middle and crochet. Finish the corresponding stitches. Leave the rest unworked. For the rest, just crochet the stitches according to the chart. If there are any remaining stitches, simply skip them. This completes row 14. Continue with row 15. Start with 1 chain stitch. Turn over. Then skip 1 stitch. Crochet 7 slip stitches downward. There are 3 strands of yarn at the insertion point here. You can pick the 2 centered strands for inserting the hook. You can also pick the 2 outer strands for inserting the hook. As long as after crocheting, both front and back do not form a complete braid. For similar situations later on, just use the same method to insert the hook. When inserting for slip stitches moving forward, always pick 2 corresponding strands, or insert into the stitch. Moving forward, all crocheting will be done back and forth in this area. Specific stitch techniques can be referenced from the chart. Continue crocheting until the end of row 22. After completion, crochet row 23. Start with 1 chain stitch. Turn over. Then skip 1 stitch without crocheting. Next, evenly make 4 slip stitches. Two single crochets. 2 half double crochets. For adjacent areas, crochet 3 double crochets together. First, pick 2 adjacent stitches individually. Crochet an incomplete double crochet. Then pick up the top chain of the starting stitch. Insert hook into 2 strands and make an incomplete double crochet. Now there are 4 loops on your hook. Yarn over, and draw through in once. This completes the double crochet 3 stitches together. At the same time, row 23 is now finished. Continue with row 24. For this row, you need to pick up the previously skipped section and crochet together. While crocheting, some positions will require adjustment. Start with 1 chain as your turning chain. Turn over. Then work 2 single crochets evenly. Make 5 half double crochets. Next, make 1 half double crochet increase. Then work 8 half double crochets. Here, pick up 2 strands from the middle of the adjacent braid and hook 1 stitch. The braids here are a bit staggered. Pick approximately corresponding 2 strands for stitching. You can also pick the braid from behind. Similarly, just finish hooking here. It's fine if there are no complete braids in the front or back. Then pick the adjacent turning chain position. Pick below the braid and crochet 1 stitch. If it's difficult to pick up here, you can also choose the hole below. And pick the previous stitch technique's insertion point for crocheting. Here, as long as there are no obvious gaps after finishing, it's fine. After completing, pick beside and continue downward. Pick the previous stitch technique's insertion position. That is, this stitch. Crochet 1 stitch. Then continue to crochet 5 stitches correspondingly. After completing, crochet 16 double crochets. First, pick the slip stitch position, and crochet 7 stitches. Then pick the turning chain position, and draw out 1 stitch. Pick the adjacent previous stitch technique's insertion position, and crochet 1 stitch. Then continue to pick the slip stitch position, and draw out 3 stitches. Pick the turning chain position again and draw out 1 stitch. Then pick the previous stitch technique's insertion position, and draw out 1 stitch. Then continue to pick the slip stitch position, and draw out 2 stitches. At this point, check the stitch count. After completion, crochet a double crochet, decrease adjacent to the previous stitch. Here, pick 2 adjacent threads, and insert the hook with 2 threads on the left side to crochet. Skip the turning chain position below. Start from the insertion position of the previous stitch technique. Crochet 14 double crochets correspondingly. After completion, pick 2 adjacent threads, and 2 threads on the left side. Crochet a double crochet decrease. From the insertion position of the previous stitch technique, continue behind. Crochet 48 half double crochets correspondingly. When you encounter a turning chain position, crochet 1 stitch correspondingly. Then pick the insertion position of the previous stitch and crochet 1 stitch. The rest are all picked stitches that are crocheted correspondingly. Meanwhile, for the remaining part, everyone can directly refer to the chart and crochet the corresponding stitch techniques. Keep crocheting until just before the last red stitch in the chart. Once you reach the corresponding position, here, you need to pick the position of 1 stitch from the edge below. Pick the whole or 2 strands of the edge. Crochet 1 double crochet. At this point, row 24 is completed. Continue crocheting row 25 below. Start with 3 chain stitches as the turning chain. Turn over. Then refer to the chart and crochet correspondingly. Keep crocheting until just before the last stitch of this row in the chart. Once you reach the corresponding position, the last stitch at the bottom is 3 single crochets combined into 1 stitch. First, crochet 3 incomplete single crochets. First, second, third. There are 4 loops on the hook right now. Yarn over, pull through once. Complete the 3 single crochets combined into 1 stitch. At the same time, row 25 is completed. Next, crochet row 26. Start with 1 chain stitch. Turn over. Refer to the chart for the same pattern below. Crochet until the last stitch with the red stitch pattern. Arrive at the corresponding position below. Here you need to pick up the 2 strands from the side of the previous stitch. Correspondingly make 1 double crochet. Row 26 is completed. Continue crocheting downward. The ending of row 28 also has one red double crochet. The insertion point is the same as the end of row 26. Pick up the 2 strands from the side of the previous stitch. Insert and crochet a double crochet. When crocheting row 37, you need to make 1 double crochet at the turning chain position. The method is the same as row 24. After finishing the turning chain position, pick up the insertion point of the previous stitch pattern and make 1 double crochet. For the rest, refer to the previous demonstration and chart. Complete rows 27 to 38. After completion, move on to row 39. In this row, you'll encounter the turning chain. As well as the insertion points for adjacent stitches from the previous pattern. You need to insert and crochet the corresponding stitch techniques. Specifically, refer to the chart to finish this row. After finishing, you'll be roughly near the half double crochet increase, or around that position. If the stitch count matches the chart, it's fine if the position is off by 1-2 stitches. This completes row 39. Next, work on row 40. First, refer to the chart. Crochet until you reach the marked half double crochet decrease position. Upon reaching the corresponding position, continue with the half double crochet decrease. Yarn over once, insert into the adjacent stitch. Yarn over and pull through, leaving 3 loops on the hook. This is an incomplete half double crochet. Next, work an incomplete half double crochet in the adjacent stitch. Yarn over, insert the hook. Yarn over and pull through. Now there are 5 loops on the hook. Yarn over again, and draw through all loops at once. This completes the half double crochet decrease. Continue with 3 more half double crochets in the adjacent stitches. Then work another half double crochet decrease. Work incomplete half double crochet separately. First stitch. Second stitch. Finally, yarn over and draw through all loops once. This completes the half double crochet decrease. At this point, row 40 is completed. Continue working rows 41 to 45 next. On row 45, when you encounter the turning chain as well as the insertion point for stitches adjacent to the previous ones, you need to insert the hook and work the corresponding stitches. Moving forward, please refer to the chart. Complete these rows. After completion, you will need to change colors in the next row. Start by breaking the yarn. Crochet 1 chain stitch to secure. Leave a little yarn tail. Cut off. Pull tight. The yarn tails can be dealt with later. Starting from row 46, begin joining the yarn. Pick up the corresponding color. Make a slip knot with the yarn. Then, place row 45's right side facing you. Locate the right edge. This is the turning chain. Insert the hook into the gap between the turning chain and the adjacent double crochet stitch. Draw the loop of the slip knot through. Adjust slightly. Then, make 3 chain stitches as the turning chain. Continue by picking up stitches and inserting the hook. As you proceed, refer to the chart for corresponding crochet work. While crocheting, hide the yarn tail for joining at the same time. Keep crocheting down until the end of row 51. After completion, you need to change colors on row 52. Here, I'll explain using a finished sample swatch. The method is the same as the previous color change. First, cut the yarn of the previous color. Then, join the new color you want to switch to. When joining, make sure the texture of row 52 matches row 51. Then, have the right side of the previous row facing you. Then, at one end on the right. At the position of the first stitch of the previous row. Here you need to skip 2 stitches for the start of row 52. So, skip 2 stitches. Join the yarn at the adjacent stitch. After joining, skip 1 stitch. That is, skip the stitch where you joined the yarn. Then, continue crocheting from the adjacent position while referring to the chart. Similarly, for row 56, it will also be on the right side of the previous row. Start joining the yarn at one end on the right. Here, it's a turning stitch. Pick up the adjacent gap to join the yarn. Moving forward, everyone can refer to the chart. Complete crocheting the remaining rows. After finishing the last row, break the yarn as well. For now, don't handle any of the yarn tails. That concludes the explanation for the main piece. Use the same method to crochet another main piece. Next, we'll work on the edging. Crochet 2 rounds around the outer ring of the main piece. The method is the same for both the front and back pieces. Start with the first round. In this round, you'll need to increase stitches at certain positions and decrease stitches at other positions. For convenience while crocheting, begin by marking the positions where you need to increase or decrease stitches. Place the side of the fabric piece that curves inward facing up. Pay attention. Crochet the edging on the right side of the front piece. That's the side where the texture of the first row of stitches is neat. Crochet the edging on the wrong side of the back piece. That means the front piece has the right side facing out, and the back piece has the wrong side facing out. Here, I'll start crocheting on the front piece first. In the first round, you need to increase stitches at the top of the 2 protruding parts above, and a little bit on the inner side. You can place stitch markers at approximately these positions, or use yarn to mark them. Then find the concave positions. Mark the ends where the curve is more pronounced. You need to decrease stitches at the marked positions here. Then on the bottom edge, mark the slightly rounded parts at both ends. Place markers there. At these marked positions, you need to increase stitches. Note that all marked positions should be symmetrical with each other. You can fold the fabric in half, and then mark symmetrically by finding roughly corresponding positions. After marking all the positions, continue crocheting downward. Join the yarn at any position. Here, I'm joining it near the bump on the upper right side, just beside the marker. This is a stitch. Insert the hook into any stitch. Make a slip knot with the yarn. Pull through. Adjust slightly. Chain 1 to begin. Correspondingly make one single crochet. Pay attention to crocheting the edging while weaving in the yarn tail. Crochet downwards along the edge of the fabric piece. Here is a stitch. Pick up the stitch and insert the hook. Work one single crochet into each stitch. When you reach the marked position, you need to increase stitches here. That means crocheting a single crochet increase. After completing, continue working corresponding single crochets. For the following side edge, pick up approximately corresponding positions and work single crochets. There's no special requirement for the number of stitches or insertion position. As long as the fabric lays flat after completing the crocheting, it's fine. When you reach the next marked position for an increase, correspondingly make a single crochet increase. Then continue picking up approximately corresponding positions on the side edge. Insert the hook and work one single crochet into each stitch. When you reach the marked position, a decrease is needed here. Crochet a single crochet decrease. From here on, just pick up the approximate corresponding positions and work single crochets. Except for the indented positions, where you need to crochet a single crochet decrease at the marked spots. For all other positions, you will be crocheting single crochet increases. At the same time, everyone should pay attention while working, ensuring that the completed fabric piece stays flat. If it's not quite flat, you can adjust the number of stitches based on the actual situation. However, the increase placement remains unchanged. Also, remember to weave in the yarn tail while crocheting. After completing the last stitch, work a slip stitch into the starting single crochet stitch. Here, the second braid on the right is the single crochet stitch. The first vertical braid is the turning chain. Skip it. Then insert the hook into the stitch and continue crocheting. Once finished, pull tight the braid formed by the slip stitch. Do not cut the yarn here. At this point, the first round is completed. Move on to round 2. For this round, pick up the front loop of each stitch and work a slip stitch. Each stitch has 2 strands of yarn. The strand closer to you is the front loop. The strand farther away is the back loop. Move left and directly pick up the front loop of the first stitch. Work one slip stitch. Continue onward. Pick up the front loop of each stitch, and correspondingly work slip stitches. After completing the last stitch, you're done. Proceed with binding off. First, stretch the loop. Leave a little yarn tail. Cut the yarn. Then thread the needle. Insert it from underneath the first chain on the left. Then go through the center of the last chain to the wrong side. Hide the remaining yarn tail inside the fabric. You can weave in a few more stitches if needed. This completes the second round. That concludes the explanation of crocheting the edging. Let me emphasize one more time. When crocheting the border on the back piece, make sure the wrong side is facing out. The method is the same for all parts. Continue with slip stitch decorations as you move forward. For the main piece, focus on crocheting at 5 decorative row of slip stitches. These are located at the boundaries between different colors of the main piece. Also, between row 5 and row 6 of the first color, and between row 12 and the row above it. Here, I will start by crocheting the slip stitch decoration between row 5 and row 6. Pick up the corresponding yarn. In practice, use the same color yarn in this area. For convenience while watching, I'll demonstrate using a different color. Make a slip knot with the yarn. Face the concave side of the main piece toward yourself. Then ensure the right side of the edging is facing up. That's the side with the chains. Then, between row 5 and row 6. Insert the hook into the hole on the right edge to join the yarn. Work down and pick up the spaces from these two rows respectively. That is, the insertion point of row 6, and the stitches of row 5. Crochet slip stitches correspondingly in each stitch. Continue until you reach the end. Work to the edge. Stretch the loop. Leave a bit of tail and fasten off the yarn. Move down from this hole on the edge, and use the hook to bring the yarn tail to the wrong side. Hide the yarn tail inside the fabric here. You can weave in a few more stitches if you want. For the starting tail, just hide it on the wrong side using the same method. That's how you finish the first decorative row of slip stitches. Now move on to the second one. Count up 12 rows. This row is actually row 24 of the main piece. On the right edge of this row, join the yarn at the position of the hole. Work along the insertion points of the row above, all the way down. Continue until you reach the edge on this side. After completing the edge and the hole, fasten off the yarn. Then hide the tail end on the wrong side. For the remaining 3 rows, crochet them at the color boundaries. Use the color below for the 3rd row. Pick up the last row of stitches at the boundary of this color. Insert your hook into the insertion points of the row above. Use these colors for the next 2 rows respectively. Pick up the starting insertion point. Also, pick up the stitches of the last row in this color. Insert your hook and start crocheting. Here, everything starts from the right edge. Crochet until the last stitch of the corresponding color area. Then continue downward to complete the remaining 3 rows. The slip stitch decoration on the back piece is in the same position here. Simply crochet from right to left. The method is the same. Pay attention, when crocheting, make sure the right side of the back piece is facing up. Everyone, complete the crocheting. Now, the explanation for the slip stitch decoration part is finished. At the same time, the front and back pieces creation has been explained. It's normal for the fabric piece to be slightly uneven after completion. Just stretch and iron it a bit. Next, crochet the base piece. It's divided into 2 parts, the main body and the slip stitch decoration. Crochet the main body first. After completing it, pick up the corresponding position to crochet the slip stitch decoration. Crochet the main piece first. Use the corresponding yarn. Then cast on and crochet the corresponding number of chain stitches. For specifics, everyone refer to the chart. After completing it, start crocheting row 1. Start with 1 chain stitch as your turning chain. Then, begin from the 2nd to last stitch. Pick up the raised horizontal bar on the back of the braid. This is the corresponding back ridge of the chain stitch. Pick it up and crochet 1 single crochet stitch. Next, pick up the back ridges of the chain stitches. Work single crochets evenly. After completing the last chain stitch position, row 1 is done. Continue with row 2. Start with 1 chain stitch as your turning chain. Turn over, then refer to the pattern chart for crocheting. The stitch count and techniques in my sample swatch are random. Finish with 1 edge stitch. Row 2 is now completed. For the remaining rows, you will work back and forth in rows. Always start with 1 chain stitch as your turning chain. Then turn, and insert the hook into the next stitch. All the stitch techniques and methods have been demonstrated before. Refer to the chart, and crochet the main piece until completion. After completing 3 rows, you can compare the front and back pieces. From the side next to one raised end, to the side next to the other raised end. If the base piece's dimensions are too small, you can stretch it slightly. If there is a significant difference in length, you can adjust your tension or adjust the stitch count and crochet again. If adjusting the stitch count, you will need to redistribute the number of stitches for each stitch pattern. You can evenly increase or decrease the stitch count as indicated on the chart. Once completed, hide the yarn tails inside the fabric. After finishing the main piece, Continue by crocheting slip stitch decorations. Make a total of 4. The first one goes between row 3 and row 4. Then there is an interval of 2 rows. Crochet in the positions between the rows. All are crocheted from right to left. The method is the same as the slip stitch decoration for the front and back pieces. Next, everyone finishes crocheting the slip stitch decorations on the base piece. At this point, the crochet section of the base piece has been fully explained.